Hello there. This is a video that I did not want to make because I really wanted to work things out with GGTOOR as a company. However, we are approaching 4 months of non-payment for work that has already been done for the company, as well as 4 months that players, which is the important thing here, have not been paid from GGTOOR. And quite honestly, this is pretty much my last resort to try and push the company to stop being shady and to hopefully pay everyone out and to just warn all tournament organizers that will be kind of in my position where you think, okay, these guys are often offering a lot of money. Maybe they're worth their salt. Let me take up a contract with them. Don't do it. It is not worth it. And I am here to tell you why. I have all of the receipts. I will be going through it. Yes, I know the title is a little bit clickbaity, but this video is not monetized. You guys know me. If you don't know me, you're from another tournament organizer, or you are coming in looking at information for GGTOOR, if you should join them or not. I don't like to profit off drama, and I don't want to profit off drama. This is purely as a warning to TOs and to tell my players what's going on and to be transparent with them. In the last video that I made about this subject, I said that I would be waiting until the 30th to give GGTOOR time to do the right thing, pay everybody out. And if they did, I would be willing to sit down with them and renegotiate our contract and figure out what we can do to make everything correct. It is now the 30th, and they have informed me that they do not plan on paying me today and want me to wait a few more weeks. Unfortunately, they have been saying this same thing for months now, and I have no faith that they will go with that. And I plan, or I rather think that they plan on just not paying anybody and dipping out. And I want to hold them accountable for what they have done, and I want them to pay out not just me, but the players, not just in Yu-Gi-Oh, but everywhere. And that is what we're going to talk about today. A few things to talk about just to get them out of the way, a little bit of housekeeping. Number one, our relationship with GGTOOR goes back almost a year. As you can see in the screenshot here in Discord, when we first joined them, they did not have a community. Their Discord was a couple of hundred members big. It is now over 20,000 members big, mostly from us. I don't know if we're necessarily the largest tournament organizers, but we are up there. And we hosted the most events with them with the highest amount of people per those events. So we helped build them up from nothing to where they are now. So I have been here from the start with them. Where some of the new tournament organizations that may be doing, Magic the Gathering or some other ones that are more recent, this might be a more recent thing to you guys. But I have seen them grow from nothing to where they are now. In fact, I can even tell you, if you go here to their Twitter, you see how they have 11,000 Twitter followers, and they have all of these posts that get no impressions on them. Do you know why that is? That's because of us. We host, or for these tournaments, we host on a website called StartGG. And on StartGG, you can force people to either have Twitter, Twitch, or Discord signed up to follow or to enter your tournaments. We enable Discord because that's how we moderate the tournaments. They enable Twitter, and I have even gone off record telling them multiple times, enabling Twitter doesn't help the player experience in any way. All it does is give you fake Twitter accounts that nobody uses, which is essentially the same thing as like view botting on Twitch or buying Twitter followers. There's a bunch of dead Twitter accounts no one uses. They simply made it just to sign up with GGTOOR. That came from our StartGG, and that's when their Twitter started skyrocketing. I'm assuming to defraud and fool investors into thinking that they have a lot of impressions, because if you go look up GGTOOR on YouTube or anywhere else, it's a dead community with like no subscribers, no nothing like that. It doesn't give you the impression of a company that has 11,000 followers on Twitch. So there you go. My exact relationship with them is they would contact us to host $500 Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, and then they would pay DLE directly for hosting said events. Payment differed depending on how many players ended up signing up. We've had several very good experiences with them throughout the year, but the last 5 tournaments that they've held have not been paid out to either the players or to DLE directly, and they are over $3,000 in debt to Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, the entire community, including our cut that we deserve from all the work that we've already did for hosting those events, from modding it to streaming it to broadcasting it, etc. And it has been a almost 4-month delay since said things have happened. So I want to take you a trip down the journey. To those in my community that are waiting, I told you in the last video that when GGTOOR pays us, I use that money as funding for our normal tournaments outside of the GGTOOR tournaments. We owe the community around $460. I have it all on an Excel spreadsheet. What I told you guys in the last video still remains true. I spoke to Paydia before making this video. They said that they are working to get us paid by February 6th. So between the 6th and the 15th, somewhere in that time frame, I should have the full funding that you guys are waiting for. Those who entered the GGTOOR directly and won top 8+ in the GGTOOR directly and are waiting for funds, I will do everything in my power to pressure this company into paying you. I will speak more about what else I can do for you guys towards the end of this video so we can get into kind of the meat and potatoes of this video. So please watch until the end or skip to the end if you're concerned about that. So getting into it, first screenshot, this is just to show that we have been working with GGTOOR for an extremely long time. Kind of getting into it, this is kind of where delays have happened before at GGTOOR, but never to this degree. As you can imagine, a company that's hosting free, no entry fee tournaments, there may be delays from time to time. You can see here on 4/26/2022, that was one of the first times we've ever had a delay with GGTOOR. He said that it could take up to 3 weeks. I believe this delay only ended up being 1 week. So while I do not expect delays often from GGTOOR, they did happen from time to time. The worst one lasted, I think, 3 weeks. So they kind of knew from an extremely long time ago that this restructuring that they were doing was going to end up in some capacity in this manner. And it didn't get this bad until now, is basically what I'm trying to say here. This is way before any of the drama or anything like this happened. When this delay happened here in this screenshot, they paid it out like a week later. And like I said, the worst delay I had up until this point was like a 3-week delay, and I just paid people out of pocket until they paid people. So it wasn't a big deal to me because I knew the money was coming in. Not a massive deal for us. Let's move on. This is when the problems actually started arising. This was my first kind of introduction that something really bad may be happening in October 20th. This is when Shinobi, who is the esports manager, that's his title in the Discord, reached out to me to talk about planning tournaments during the holidays. If there would be a problem during Thanksgiving, during Christmas, anything like that. I said, we have a lot of international players. I plan to be around here, so if you want to host tournaments, I'm good to go. There should be no issues. So as you can see, there was full plans to make tournaments happen during December, New Year's, all that. And as you guys know, we didn't host any events in December. So obviously the plans ended up changing. So that's kind of where it started. We started talking about plans for the future. By the end, he sort of brought this up. Right now, he's being asked to trim down events. This is kind of what he's trying to get at, that he wanted to slow down some events. That's what his company was telling him to do. So he gave me a list of what he thinks the next couple months would look like in terms of events that we would host for GGTOOR. Again, I want to remind you guys, we didn't host any events in December. So keep that in mind. This was the first, thing he kind of talked about in terms of like lowering amount of tournaments or whatever. Before, I thought he was just talking about, will we be available during, the holidays essentially to host their events. I said, okay, so you're basically reducing the amount of tournaments to 2 Duel Links tournaments a month and then 1 Master Duel for 3 total instead of 4. He said that's the plan until I get new direction from the CEO. I was like, oh, okay, well, did you guys want to lower the prize pool? Did you want to scale back? Like, giving them some ideas of what to do. And this is where he brought up the restructuring again. He wants to finish the restructuring that they've been doing for several months. Made some progress, but they're still working on it. And I asked them, what's this restructuring about? He brought up he doesn't have the details, but involves additional new funding, something about the metaverse, and other additional revenues. Okay, so it's towards funding their events. Understandable. And that was the end of our conversation. Nothing else to really add to that conversation. The next time I contacted him was closer to the end of October, the 28th. This is a week after that our last event had been held with them. I said, I'm checking in. Are there any delays with last week's payments? He said, I knew we spoke about restructuring, changing the funding source, but apologize if I did not explicitly clarify. Yes, there's likely to be another delay of a few weeks, similar to what happened about 2 months ago as they continue to pursue these changes. I said, all right. And he asks for Twitch metrics. This is all for just whenever we host events, he asks for metrics and whatnot. So if you see that, that's what that relates to. So again, yeah, the longest delay I ever had was 3 weeks, which is not even a month. That's the longest I've ever had to wait for a GGTOOR payment. And as you can see, that happened several months ago from this conversation. So I figured, okay, it's another one of those situations. They'll figure something out. But more importantly, in this original text, there was not anything that said that this payment would be delayed, which was concerning. But as they were truthful in the past and at this point had hosted over 40 events with us, I figured, okay, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll keep going. Everything will be fine. No problems. Yeah. And that's kind of where the first red flag raised for me. The fact that he kind of was like, oh, it's like a little bit of a gaslight effect. Oh, I thought you kind of would have picked up when I said that we're looking for additional revenue or whatever, that there would be delays. No. That's not how it works. You tell me if there is a delay. If there is a delay, you let me know, hey, this payment will be delayed. So I can then say, oh, well, then let me delay what I have to delay. Let's move on, though. Clearly being already starting to be shady, but let's move on. Next thing he talks about is I reach out again because I have to reach out. They never reach out to me. He says, good thing you asked. I was about to reach out. That he had gotten word from GGTOOR that they have entered the next stages of the process of restructuring. He goes on to say that they expect everything to be done within 4 weeks. And then he also additionally posted, in addition to this message to me personally, he posted that he expects payment to be delivered sometime in the first half of December. So this was back in November, and he said we expect payments to be given out in the first half of December. I said you guys have good faith built up with us. As we can keep November as it is if you want. Just keep me in the loop in case, I have to make plans to change them, right? Moving on. Again, he's talking about signing contracts and whatnot. Have there been any updates on payments? Another week passes by. Tells me nothing tangible beyond our November 3rd discussion, except perhaps for this press release. Essentially, GGTOOR talking about how their funding had fallen through. Concerning for me at this point, but very well. They promised to pay. They'll pay. Moving on. GGTOOR has asked me to temporarily hold off scheduling any new events for December and that are not already open for registration. I'm optimistic that we'll be able to plan new events fairly soon, and I'm hopeful that GGTOOR may resume supporting events within the next few days/weeks. To err on the side of caution for now, I would work under the assumption that we may need to wait until after December before resuming GGTOOR support for future events. All right, no problem. I'd rather they cancel their events than host events that they can't fund for. So they didn't host anything in December. I myself started looking for new sponsors. That's where Paydia came in. That's why the second half of December, everyone got paid for their tournaments, where the first half of December, people did not get paid. That's when we switched over our revenue stream. And why going into February, we're getting paid for all of January and February, why everyone else that has been waiting up until the delay from November all the way through the first half of December. All those folks that have been waiting, that's why you're getting paid in January, because you are now coming from our new revenue source rather than the old revenue source of GGTOOR. There you go. So that's when I made this switch, and I asked him, okay, how are payments coming along? He says no official updates to share. That's different from the November 5th announcement, though I'm getting some unofficial tentative information that on the face of it seems promising, but I don't want to raise false alarms of timing, and will say no change for now. Sonobi is extremely incompetent as a manager, and he has done nothing but hide information. I know that he doesn't control the money flow or anything, but he did not facilitate any proper communication between me and GGTOOR. As we'll see later in this conversation, he knew a lot more than he was letting on, and just never had me in the loop, which is very concerning for a working relationship. That's kind of the sins that he has and issues I have dealing and working through him. But we'll talk to other people momentarily. Talking a little bit further, I again ask, any updates? He didn't respond to me. A couple hours later, has there been anything? Nothing yet. And he comes with it's an any day type of situation now. This is the 9th of December, so getting really close to that promise to pay date. I don't want to tell you anything and be in the same place as a week from now. So let's just say nothing concrete has yet materialized. Even if I do get more meaningful update, given the holidays are upon us, at this point, I wouldn't expect things to actually crank up again until January. But I can't bank on that either until we get a concrete update. Now, I understand this information is rough to share, but in my opinion, if you are the esports coordinator, manager, whatever, your job is to pretty much keep me in the loop. To, if you know things, let me know, because then if they continue to fail to meet deadline requirements, I am in the know-how and you're not keeping information away from me. That's almost as bad as just straight up not paying us, because I have nothing to defend myself against from bad management. Let's keep going. I respond with, to be honest, I do not think it's a good idea to wait that long. Is there anyone I can speak to about this matter? 2 months is way too long to wait for an event that has already happened. GGTOOR is risking their reputation with the entire Yu-Gi-Oh community at this point, and I'm not really in a place where I'd stand up for them, since we are also affected. GGTOOR owes DLE as a company over $1,000, half of which essentially would be going to players for the tournament scene. So that's pretty terrible. So I'm not really in a position to stand up for them or defend them or protect them or anything like that. He responds with, I understand that, and I think they do too. They're waiting for the funding to hit the corporate account. Like I said, they've told us it should be any day now. This is back in December still, so very clearly not how it went. I can only pass on what they tell me, and I can't imagine them telling you something else other than that. At this point, I bring up the idea there has to be a way to at least get the early November folks paid or something, just something to show that you guys are making some progress. I think also there needs to be something to avoid this in the future in writing. To be honest, the whole experience has soured my experience with the company. Same for most Yu-Gi-Oh players at the moment. Makes sense. If you guys can't pay the whole amount, at least start paying people who played in early November. That way, even if we have partial payments, the community can see, oh, they're working towards it. Do you know what I mean? I understand paying it all at once, especially when you've already made such a massive, colossal mess up. It sucks, yes, you could say that was a mistake and you shouldn't have done that, but then it's your actions afterwards that you take that will determine how people think of you. And the fact that you just decided, yeah, we'll just keep waiting until the full thing is paid and withhold information from our tournament organizers, it doesn't bode well. Let's keep going. He says, I get that. As soon as I have any news, I will convey it. Right now, I think the priority is to get the past resolved, which is true, which is all I cared about at this point. I never even brought up running additional tournaments. I'm only interested in the past as well. Once that's done, I will do whatever is within my power to try to find a path forward to the future. I say, please let me know ASAP. I do not want this to drag on for another month. I do not know who needs to hear it, but for what it's worth, the DLE team, is reconsidering any future deals. I can only put out the fire for so long until I cannot defend you guys. So that's kind of my first inclination that, hey, I'm not going to defend you, all right? Pay what you need to pay, and let's move on. He says, you and me both, you'll see a lot of corporate talk from these guys. They're very much so not video game people whatsoever. They're very corporate. I used to work in a corporate office, middle management, so I know how these types are. That's why you'll see a lot of stiff writing coming from all of the individuals we speak to. I reach out again. Has there been any updates? This is now past the new deadline. He says, we're in the same position, waiting to have information we do not have yet. GGTOOR tells me it's supposed to be soon, but I cannot say with certainty how many more days or weeks it might be. The moment I have any news, I will convey it. Checking in again. Has there been anything? Nothing new. Just as soon as we get any meaningful information, GGTOOR will reach out. At this point, I've had enough. It's the end of December, way, way past any original agreement that we had to talk about anything. And I say, nope, I'm sorry, but that's completely unacceptable. I need an answer when me, my team, and the winners of the tournaments are going to be paid. If you cannot help me, then I need to speak to someone who can. We're a full 2 months entering a third with no resolution. If we don't get information or someone who can get me that information, I'll have to reconsider our dealings in the future. He goes on to say, I understand the negative consequences of the extended delay. I am reasonably certain that GGTOOR does too. If there is anything that could have been done timely by GGTOOR, I believe it already would have been done. We are both all waiting for funding to finalize and the payments due from GGTOOR to make those who are waiting. And sure, I fully understand, blah, 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 blah. More corporate talk. If you want to read it, there it is. Because I'm done at this point. You can see my next message. This is the kind of response that does nothing for me after waiting 2 months. If GGTOOR wants any future dealings with Yu-Gi-Oh! Esports, I need something better than this. It's ridiculous. He's trying to essentially just cover his own ass at this point. Now things start to kind of unravel a bit. Given prior expected dates from GGTOOR were provided and then pushed back or missed, I'm trying to avoid being loosey with the football. Who even says that? Anyway, I'm extremely hesitant to give another promised expected date. At this point, I feel like I would probably be better to be pleasantly surprised when a notice is received that payment has finally made through, rather than disappointed for any means or for any reason it doesn't show up by the newest expected date provided by GGTOOR. With that said, if you really want me to pass on the most recent updated expected date from GGTOOR, I will, and I was told you would see funding by next weekend. Sonobi, it is your job to keep me informed of what is going on. It isn't a matter if I really want you to pass information. It is your job to pass information. Who knows how many more times they have told him payment would come and he simply did not tell me at this point. All right? There's no such thing as being pleasantly surprised by the time payment comes through. Okay? Maybe for you, because your job would become easier all of a sudden, but for people who are waiting, we want information. We want to hold the source of funding accountable. We don't want to sit around and say, oh, I finally have been paid for work that I have done or tournaments that I have won several months ago. This is a pleasant surprise. That isn't a thing. Let's keep going. Which is basically more or less what I tell them. There's nothing pleasant about being in the dark, especially when it comes to a company failing to meet expected payment dates. Of course, I want to know every single update. That way I can see how poorly the whole thing has been managed. Thank you. We go into January now. With the weekend now being here, this is the new expected date, has GGTOOR confirmed that they have received funding or have been given a new date for funding? GGTOOR tells me that the funding has not yet come, though they tell us they still expect it to happen soon. GGTOOR is not providing us with a revised target date. That's all he sent me. Can I request a new date for them? Again, doesn't seem what I told them before made any sense. Okay, can I request a new date then? I already asked them before, and then he quoted that they are not providing a new target date. At this point, you guys have to understand, I do have contracts with these guys, but that doesn't mean a whole lot for small content creators like me. I'm not going to have an army of a legal team that these guys probably have with all the money that they spend to be able to enforce any sort of contract, right? We literally, yes, legally I have contracts, but if I were actually to try and go to court or something, just the payments alone to a lawyer, would destroy me and do nothing to these guys. So all I have is social media. The one thing that GGTOOR does not have is social media. They have a fake Twitter account with fake followers, no YouTube presence, no Twitch presence. I have a following, and that's how I can make a difference. So I tell them, go back to them and demand a date. I don't want to take this to social media, but every month that passes, it looks like that is becoming our only option. We both know GGTOOR does not have the social media presence to handle something like that. Please work with me. I have been more than patient. I imagine they would like to be given, or they would like to give me a date on their own terms instead of me setting one for them. I mean, here we are, January 30th, still nothing. This is my social media outreach. Sonobi then says, I proactively already sent a message to the president. I want to know what he says ASAP. No more jerking me around. That's me. As soon as I get a response, I will, as always, convey it to you. That's not true. As you guys saw earlier, he had responses that he was not conveying to me. That's where my frustration started to boil over. I did stress that I need a timely response to convey to you. I then respond, at this point, I just need to see something happen. Even if it's partial payment to the community, the last thing you guys need when someone looks up GGTOOR is a YouTube video warning everyone to stay away. My next message will either be thanking you for the payment or linking you said video. That is it. He again brings up, as always, I'll do everything I can. We know that's not true. I'll join you in hoping that the president of GGTOOR responds timely to this message I sent him at the same time as my first response to you today. And then he gives me the Discord to the president of GGTOOR. Let's keep going. I open up. I tell him who I am. Sonobi gave me your Discord, told me I could talk to you about our outstanding payments from GGTOOR. This is now the president of GGTOOR that I am speaking to. It says, Ryan, let me explain the situation. Almost 3 months ago, we lost our funding, which I know is not true because we've had delays, way back in April. So, okay, but whatever. We lost our funding, have been working to get other funding sources. We apologize, but we at least need the end of the month of January, and we will be paying you and everyone that is owed money. I understand that you are upset like everyone we owe money to, but I assure you that we will pay you. Just don't have the funds at the time. So this is where I got the date of January 30th. This is where it comes from. My main issue is the lack of communication, especially from our point of contact in Sonobi. In my opinion, he has been very unprofessional and overall unbothered with the situation. Overall, everyone in this company just seems unbothered with the situation. Frankly, the way he responds to me upsets me even more on top of the frustration I feel about not being paid. When I request information, he withholds it because he wants to pass the buck to someone else. That's all I said about Sonobi to this individual. Personal issues aside, we would have been understanding if you all decided not to host a tournament with us due to lack of funding, rather than host the event and go look for funding after the fact. Your assurance doesn't mean much to me 3 months after the fact. It's simply too long with too little communication. Frankly, at this point, I don't really care where the money comes from, even if it has to come out of GGTOOR's own pockets, as in they pay it themselves. The way I look at it, the money was given away the moment you put signups for said tournaments. I mean, I fully believe that. If you put up a tournament, you are held to that money. That is why the moment I realized that something else was going on, I went looking for another sponsor in Padia so that all the people that they essentially forced me to host tournaments for by promising funding for said tournaments, once they didn't pay out, I went and got the money and now have secured that money for February 6th. They have not done the same thing. To that end, I need a specific date when payments will start to go through, even if they are at least partial payments. So I'm still keeping it stuck to their head. If you at least give us partial payment, I can work with you. I'm not demanding the entire amount up front. A date I can hold GGTOOR accountable to, so no more jerking my chain around. Give me an exact date that I can point to and say, this is the payment date for all payouts. Without that, I'll be forced to take this issue to social media to secure the Yu-Gi-Oh community's interests. He follows up with, I understand. Please give us until tomorrow. I need to talk to the board to give you an exact date. These issues are not expected. It was never our intention to deceive you or anyone else. We always pay, and we hope that once this situation is resolved, we can work with you in the future. I respond with, again, most of my issues come with how this whole thing was managed. I and many of the community do not think GGTOOR set out to scam, but it is very clear from a management point of view, it has been mishandled and it has been costly. For a company that wants to be a leader in esports, there have been simply too many mistakes, especially in management. It baffles me. As far as continuing to work together, I'll only think about it once we have moved past this issue. I can tell you that any future contracts we sign with GGTOOR will come with some sort of protection from this in the form of a late fee or something of equivalent power. I will wait for your message tomorrow on that exact date. Please understand that my patience has run out months ago, so I expect this to be resolved swiftly and will not hesitate to move on with my own plans. If not, thank you for reaching out to me. Had GGTOOR paid by the 30th, I would have been more than happy to sit down with them and renegotiate our contracts to stop this from happening in the future. I am not protected in the case of any delays with a late fee or anything like that, or even like a strict, like if you do not pay by this time, I get extra money or something to protect me from this. So waiting for funds that should have come out months ago does not benefit me in any way. Truth be told, I probably was not going to work with them anyway, even if they provided me something like that, because truth be told, I don't trust them anymore. And at this point, I just wanted to secure the money that we earned at DLE and that the players earned through tournaments, as well as all the other organizations and tournaments that still need their money, right? That's all that was on my mind. Say whatever I need to say to get our money, and then we're done with them. No more GGTOOR at that point. But hopefully you guys can understand that I need to say what I need to say to get our money and then dip out of there, because holy crap, this is getting insane, right? It gets worse. I contact him 1 in the afternoon, so he hasn't contacted me yet. This is a recurring issue. I always have to be the one contacting people. Have you spoken to them yet? He says, I'm still waiting on a response. Still 4 p.m. here in Florida, 3 hours later when he responds to me. I should hear by 6 or before. Very well. I was told that all payments will be taken care of on by or before the 30th of January 2023. Hopefully, we'll never have this unfortunate situation again. I say very well. I will reach out on the 30th, and if it has not been paid yet, then if there are issues in payment by then, I will not be extending an olive branch again. Essentially just letting him know, the 30th. Gotcha. Understood. He says, thank you. I reach out again because I don't trust these guys. As we get closer to the date, I say, hello. When you are reading this, it'll be exactly 1 week away from the promised payday. I am checking to see if there have been any issues or if that day is still good. 1 week before payment day. He did not respond. I am asking again, please provide an update. He responds with, I have been sick and didn't see my message. The information I got is that it's going to be resolved by the end of this month. Maybe he's sick, maybe he's not. I have no way of telling. I ignore that message for the most part. go on to the next one. Very well. I want you to know that I have gotten in contact with other tournament organizers and have started a production on the video. This is about a week out when I started collecting information that I was going to put in said video. I will be expecting a payment on the 30th. If it's even 1 hour late, I will be releasing said video to over a combined 100,000 audience. Please do not force me to do this. One last little warning there for him. If you combine all of the different communities in GGTOOR, there are a lot of people. Us alone, 20,000, 23,000 on YouTube, 24,000 on Twitch, 14,000 on Discord. That makes up almost all of that. And then the additional communities in GGTOOR. There you go. He comes back with probably the worst statement I have ever had dealing with a corporate individual. Stop threatening me. This is not cool. Now you are pissing me off. I am not afraid of you. I already told you we will be paying you, but I'm not going to take crap from you. Don't confuse kindness for weakness. He tried to edit this out, by the way, before I screenshotted it for him. I reply with, I have contracts, sir. It isn't kindness. This isn't kindness. You need to pay me. You legally have to do it. Also, thanks. I'll add this message to the video. I hope you are true to your word because sheesh, that response will not look good to the public. If you'd like, I can go ahead and share screenshots of the conversation, or maybe you'd like to back it up a bit and apologize. There's nothing wrong with me letting you know how serious we are about esports. This behavior is unacceptable. He follows up with, you don't understand. We lost our funding and are working hard to make good on our commitment. If the company doesn't have it is difficult, I'm under a lot of pressure and I don't need reminders. We know. Okay. That does not excuse poor behavior and outbursts to people who gave GGTOOR a good name to begin with in the tournament scene. Very disappointed in you and the company. I expect on the 30th, or I start the process to burn down what I built for you. That is all. We have never refused to pay people, but I already told you, and you keep threatening me like I'm 5 years old. Refer to my last message. I have nothing more to say to you. Anything you type will be recorded and released unless payout comes on the 30th. Please say no more. With even a little bit of pressure, the president of the company basically broke down and became an Xbox Live Call of Duty kid. I don't even know what to say. The level of unprofessionalism was just, at this point, even if they paid me, I was going to be hundreds of feet away from this company because they do not respect people who built their company up for them. They are just a bunch of rich folks that go around tossing their money out and say, oh, that is my success. It's not. You simply funded other people's success without getting anything for yourself because you did not know how to monetize or capitalize. This is disgusting. This guy, I don't, oh my goodness. Moving on. They made a post in Discord where they pinged everyone saying to expect payments within the next couple weeks, which at this point doesn't mean anything because we've heard that so many times. Hello, I saw the post that GGTOOR made today. By next couple of weeks, are you still committed to the 30th as the payday? He says, yes, we are working to take care of you first. Yesterday, the 29th, my CEO tried to email you at my email that I blurred out, but the email address doesn't seem to be working. My PayPal has 2 emails connected to it. My actual email, and then my email that I give out to people so they don't spam my email with random messages. Understandably so. There's also the official DLE email that we use for business-related reasons. Whatever. I say you can use this email. What does he need to know? Is this email telling me that he isn't planning on paying on the 30th? I read the email. I'll show it to you guys in just a moment. I sent him an email, but I still plan on releasing the video tomorrow if I do not see payment, regardless of what he tells me. Okay. Has there been a change of plan? He says at the very bottom, it's a little cut off, just to contact said individual, the CEO of the company. And then he just didn't want to talk to me anymore after that. Okay, understandable. I reach out to the CEO, give him the same response, who I am. I plan on releasing a video. What's happening? He responds with this. I've cut out a bunch of this because it's an email. I don't want to dox anyone. He's got like his phone number and stuff on here. He says, "Dear sir, I want to provide you and your group with every assurance all money owed will be paid. I publicly released an explanation, and it's my hope that if you have any additional questions I'd like to discuss with the matter personally, my coordinates are on this email. I would welcome a discussion with you." I sent him an email and tell him I've already said what I have to say. Either pay us by the 30th or I make this video. He responds with this. "Mr. Hamid," that's my last name, "I can appreciate your frustrations, and I have already disclosed to the public that the company is working on and expecting to close funding on the next couple of weeks. I went on to explain to everyone who is owed money that is paid. If you feel compelled to make such a video, I can't stop you, but I encourage you to state facts. Only, I've seen many times this type of situation over my 48 years in business, when anger and frustration often leads to bad choices. Those types of public outbursts generally backfire." You can see the gaslighting and him trying to stop the situation without just paying me, essentially. "Nevertheless, I'm providing you every assurance you and your people are going to be paid. The funding delays were not Mr. Acres, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, fault, and they were completely out of his control. If you want to discuss this matter with myself or corporate general counsel, please let me know. In the meantime, I'll personally provide you with real-time updates so you can inform your folks payment will be rendered." Now, at this point, Sonobi, the original guy, told me that to call him because the phone number was on the email. So I did. I reached out to this individual. I had the same opening. I told him that I plan on making this video if I'm not paid on the 30th, as your folks have guaranteed now the 30th would be the date, the exact date that we get paid. Um, and I told him that I would be recording said phone call. The phone call maybe lasted 20 seconds, at which point he laughed. He said, "Well, I don't know why you called then, if you're not willing to work anything out." I tried to talk, and he hung up in my face. I have the recording. I don't think there's any reason to play it because, again, it's like 20 seconds long. If they try to dispute it, I'd be more than happy to release the full clip. No issues with me. It just kind of seems irrelevant right now since it was only 20 seconds long. Not even 20 seconds. The actual conversation was maybe like 10. So there you go. He didn't like to be recorded, I guess. And if that's the reason, then I won't put it in the video. But if they try to dispute it, I will. So, what is going on? They lost funding. There was an individual in the Discord that had posted this. Let me bring it up for you guys. Website about stocks, and if this is the reason as to why the funding issues have happened. And as you read the comments, you can see people being very upset. So this has been an ongoing issue that GGTOOR essentially has been dealt with. And if you go to GGTOOR's stock website or whatever, you could see that very clearly something terrible has happened. And if you read through some of these responses, "Sam, you're a very angry guy. I don't care about stock price over the short term. Warren Buffett, blah, blah, blah. I don't understand why you're so angry. Why don't share the same investment strategy as you? Once again, you're trying to find bullshit where there is none." You know, just everything that's related. And you guys can go to this website and check it out yourself. It's on stockwits.com, GGTOOR. All of their responses have been incredibly just not professional whatsoever when it comes to GGTOOR. I won't speak too much on that because that's not something I'm personally involved with, but it's very clear that this company has a history of mistreating people, not paying people out, and defrauding investors, making themselves look bigger than they really are, when in reality they're a very small company that does not respect people who they have contracts with and does not respect esports in any fashion. That's all I'm going to say for now. For those who are affected and you are waiting for money from DLE that was supposed to come from the funding of GGTOOR, I apologize. Your payment is guaranteed to be here between the February 6th and the 15th, more than likely on the 6th. At which point you will be paid. The combined total is $460 some odd dollars, which I'll be more than happy to pay thanks to Paydia's support through these troubling times. Those who have won directly from GGTOOR and have were in our community, I know who you are. We keep good records of everyone that's worked with us and has us. And I will let you know that while I cannot say anything of that we will help you with right now, because I don't want to get into a situation where I pay you and then GGTOOR pays you and you get essentially double paid. I hope you guys understand there's too many people to do that. Some people will be dishonest and not pay back what they're owed. I'm going to try my best to pressure GGTOOR to pay out what they need to pay out. And if for whatever reason the company goes under, doesn't pay, or whatever the situation is, I will take the L. I will not, obviously I'm not going to get paid the over $1,000 that I'm waiting for them. I'll take that L, and then I will work with those affected to try and figure something out, whether it be fundraising, whether it be working with Paydia or a different sponsor, to get you guys paid out, because that's all I care about. I don't care if you're owed $10. I don't care if you're owed a couple $100, $1,000. I don't care what you're waiting for. The simple fact of not paying out a payment that needs to be paid out, or at the very least communicating when that issue needs to happen or when it needs to be resolved, is what I'm concerned about. That's all I'm concerned about when it comes to this situation. That'll do it for this video. If you guys want to help me, the best thing you can do, if you are part of the DLE Yu-Gi-Oh community, do not follow GGTOOR on Twitter. Do not interact with GGTOOR. Leave their impressions. There's no reason to attack them, but if you are waiting for money, demand your payment from those 3 people. Demand your money in Discord. If you are a tournament organizer, do not sit around and be quiet. I understand that GGTOOR may have helped you with a couple of payments, but I have known them longer than most of you guys have known them. We were their first big, massive contact and helped them build the community up. Most of their community is our community. Of their 20,000 people in Discord, 14,000 of those are the Yu-Gi-Oh players. So, rise up and say something. If you have similar interactions with these individuals, demand your money, make videos, make a ruckus. They will not pay you guys if you just sit there and let them gaslight you and make you think that they will pay you. That is not going to happen. These folks are shady. Do not work with GGTOOR. Even if this is all resolved and in the future GGTOOR approaches you, do not work with them. They are unprofessional. They do not have proper funding for their tournament, and they defraud investors. That's it. I love you guys. Payments from us will come out in February. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you to all the new sponsors that have been outstanding and communicative during this whole process. You're the reason DLE is still around, baby. Till next time, lads. Peace out.